The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Scarefest Radio, the radio you can see.
I must commend you, sir. You are the first person to ever come from that angle and not come from the Smurfs angle. One basically wants his name to appear before his former singers whose last name started with a B and all the copyrights and information. So that is kind of how one gets that. He chooses. Yeah. Well, the lame answer that we always toss out is it's what we do. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's all of the above, man. I've been collecting for over 20 years myself. Um, and it started off with auctions here and there, but over the time, gotten to know people, you make contacts, and with the HSPPA, things come to us now. Like we get um, approached with stuff that's available, and yeah, if we got too in depth, naming names and what happened? Well, okay.
There it is.
Craig and I could sing
Windows update.
No, we can't.
Okay. Testing. There we go. Everybody. Okay, in the chat room, what has happened is Windows Update has fucked me again and decided to go into my software and change the mic settings. It was working on their end, but not on my end. Maybe I can edit that and just go in and like dub my voice. I'll try that. I've never done that before. But it's, what do you want for free? Anyway, okay, so what he was talking about, everybody, is how they actually get this stuff. Okay, when you were a private collector, before you got into this, let's just walk it through the whole timing here. When you were a private collector, I love the little story you have on your website about people walking in your house and go, wow, you should open a museum. How did it start? Let me go back and put it that way. How did it start?
Like how did I start collecting altogether?
Well, what did you collect and how did you get it? I think that's a more specific question.
I kind of started as I think most people my generation did with Star Wars figures, and it just progressed with toys and the action figures into prop replicas, and then eventually I discovered you could actually own the real thing, and especially back then, a lot of times the real thing was cheaper than the replica, so it's crazy.
There's now if you can't hear me, people, it's just internet crap, I guess, but the archive should be okay from here on out because I'm recording that locally. Okay, so now you made one day did you just say, okay, that does it, I'm opening a museum? Do people do that?
That's essentially what I did. I'm an old road dog musician, so what I knew was the road, and I have a trailer. So what immediately went into my head was do conventions. I load up the trailer, and I go out to the shows, and that's kind of how it blossomed from there. Okay. Back in 2015 was our first show.
Now, because Craig has been
actually
just
came
freakishly quiet, let's get Craig in here. Craig, how did you get involved in this?
Well, so I actually came to a show in Chicago, and a friend of mine had actually said, hey, you should, I had just started prop collecting. I'd probably only been collecting for maybe a year, maybe two tops. And they said, hey, you need to go see this guy, James, at the show and talk with him. He's a prop collector like us and nice guy and so on and so forth. And I was actually meeting Shannon Elizabeth at this convention. She was there. She'd never been to a convention that I'd been to before. And I actually have one of her production dresses from Scary Movie, from when she gets killed in the parking garage. And so I had the uniform or the outfit with me, and just introduced myself to James, started looking at some of the stuff that he had, and we got to talking about the props, and he saw the box that I had in my hand, and he says, what's that? And I told him what it was, and he says, oh, well, let's do this. And he ripped the wardrobe off of a mannequin that he had up on display and put that on display. And you just started seeing the people walk by and smiling and enjoying it and appreciating it. And that really kind of turned me on to, you know, hey, this is really, really cool that he does this. I'd like to know more. And then it just kind of progressed from there.
Yeah, Craig kept coming out and doing shows, and now he's heading, he's basically my assistant with the HSPPA. I guess you would call him vice president or
now
number one.
How does this logistically now? How does this work though? Because now you've already told me before the show that you live in like two completely different areas. So how does that work as far as doing the shows? I mean, no matter what, do you come together, or does he concentrate on? Does Craig concentrate on East Coast and you more Midwest? How do you all work that part of it?
Exactly. That's exactly how it works.
Yeah.
As HISPA started expanding, one of our most difficult aspects is getting to places because this stuff doesn't ship and it doesn't fly. You know, it's really hard to send, 12 mannequins through the mail or on an airplane. So everything's got to be carted,
Right.
and that gets really expensive when you go thousands and thousands of miles. So Craig had a growing collection and a good forefront, and I provided him with a stack of stuff. And so he is our East Coast head of the East Coast division. So he, does Jersey to Atlanta. Lexington is kind of our midpoint, but he's spearheading this one, but we're both coming out for it to do. And then I also have West Coast out in Phoenix, a West Coast curator, so that we can, as well as a brick and mortar museum in Vegas, so that we can hit up all the West Coast as well.
Does now okay, I'm still running the logistics of this in my head. How do you balance out the collections? I mean, we were talking before the show. They've got the jumpsuits from Human Centipede, which I told them did not even bring, but it's a popular exhibit, so I get it. Anyway, now there's not enough jumpsuits.
Bring it just for you, Wes.
I'm sure there's not enough to go around.
There's one for you, though.
Yeah, that. Thank you very much. So how does that do you look at the collections and try to keep them balanced as far as content? Do you base it kind of on how big the show is? What decisions go into who gets what and what they're dragging around with them?
It just all gets mixed up. The thing that chooses what's going to be at the show is kind of the show. So who are the guests? What genre is the show? Because we do all genres. We not just the horror stuff. We do superhero comic conventions. We do sci-fi. We do fantasy. We've done I even did a gun show once where we brought out all the weapons and just weapons, which was kind of fun. But so it's very specific to what the demographic is of the show, but there are certain things that every show, no matter what it is, there's going to be something from it. Like Harry Potter, we almost have to have a robe or a wand or an envelope at every show, no matter what. It's just become a necessity.
We don't give a crap. Okay. It's a time for commercial break, everybody.
There's that one fan that
I keep a big bundle of sticks at my booth just to tell them they're wands. Everybody, we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back. The good news about all this debacle is that I've been recording this on Zoom also, so from the beginning of the show, we actually have a clean recording. We'll be right back.
Everyone is talking about CBD oil. Most of us know that CBD is a cannabis compound that has significant medical benefits, but does not make people high. Its benefits include pain relief, anti-seizure properties, anxiety relief, fights cancer, reduces the risk of diabetes, and it is even used as a sleep aid. Blue Leaf Naturals CBD and hemp products are full-spectrum hemp extract oils. They use only hemp grown in Kentucky, supporting Kentucky farmers and businesses and helping you and your family stay healthy and well. Blue Leaf Naturals, created with care from seed to shelf. Visit their website at blueleafnaturals.com. Blue Leaf Naturals, a Kentucky proud company.
Horror. Movie. Fans. For. Life. On Facebook. Find us. For watch parties. For news. For memes. For friends. For life. Horror movie fans for life. Join us.
And welcome back, everybody, to the debacle that is Scarefest TV tonight, because internet sucks. Technology sucks. It's everything's against me this week. Okay, before we get into the actual collections, now I did want to ask, are any... I know that with getting... if a horror star goes to a horror convention, they always say they make more money than if they go to a pop culture convention. Because first of all, horror fans are absolutely rabid, and people do like being kind of amongst their own, if you will. In your all's experience, is there any genre of show that you go to that you notice the fans are more into the kind of stuff you bring, or are you able to match your selections good enough that you don't really notice a difference?
You know, it's apologies. I've apparently woken up the cockatoo, so if you hear some screaming coming through, it's past her bedtime, so I'm in trouble about that. You know, every audience has been fantastic everywhere we've been. There are definite more passionate people, and I don't think necessarily it's the genre versus the show, and the people that come to the shows. There's probably more receptive at horror shows than at the giant Comic-Con type shows. In part, people seem too busy because when you got 30,000 people, nobody's got time to enjoy themselves, or they're too cool for school, or I've had numerous cosplayers like turn up their nose, like somebody's dressed as Spider-Man. I have Spider-Man right here, like the real thing. and they just like whatever, that type of stuff a lot. But Craig, how about you? Because
it's the same for me. I actually noticed that at the horror conventions, they seem to be maybe a little bit more open to other things. And the prime example is, James, I think you saw it at our last show that we did. It was a horror convention, and I had a Titanic display where I have 2 life jackets, a section of first class railing, and a third class ticket. And that got just as much attention as the Silent Hill Red Pyramid helmet and the Dark Nurse. You know, it just seems that maybe maybe the horror fans are just more broad in their, you know, in their genres than just horror.
That's also a good example of how we choose things for shows, because why would you have Titanic at a horror convention? Well, Billy Zane was there, so.
Correct.
Oh, yeah. The reason I asked that partially, other than just being curious, like I said, I've talked to celebrities that said, you know, I do great at a horror show, even if it's a small one, but if I go to a big pop culture con, you know, they walk past my table because I'm not famous for a character or whatever. But now, we at Comic-Con that we did last week, we took basically a set piece for the Stranger Things for photo ops. Had the little stretchy wall and everything. It was really cool. But the point is, we had people freaking lined up, and that, you know, and I wasn't sure how that would go over at that type of convention, you know. But Stranger Things is, you know, I guess it does cross a lot of genres there. Anyway, let's talk about some of the stuff you're bringing, or show me something. What kind of stuff do you got? Let's show the fans. If they can't hear me, at least they can see.
There's some stuff right behind Craig. Why don't you take that away?
Yeah. So behind me, I actually have. Let me slide out of the way. So I've actually got a screen matched outfit of Bruce Campbell. From Ash vs. Evil Dead, Season 3, Episode 7. I have a Kate Beckinsale cat suit worn by her in Underworld Blood Wars. I was guessing Cenobite, totally wrong.
Go ahead.
He thought it was a Cenobite.
I got you. I have one of the Dark Nurse costumes from Silent Hill and Silent Hill Revelations. I also have Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, Augie's costume, Pablo and Kelly, and then some of the little things we have here are, I have a couple of the puppets from Puppet Master Lilith Reich. So we have Pinhead and Tunneler going on, and then of course we have different things for all different genres. We have some dragon glass from Game of Thrones, one of the wall spikes. We actually have one of the crosses from the Boondock Saints, one of the McManus family crosses. So all these are going to be just some of the items that, you know, that we bring next month.
And we will also be bringing Kane Hodder's screen-used Uber Jason machete and a Hero Freddy vs. Jason machete.
I didn't like Jason X.
As well as... It's a fun one.
I thought it was stretched. I thought the whole concept was kind of stretched.
You know, I get this argument all the time. It's not Jason in space. It's Jason in the future. You know?
Yeah, but I was supposed to have flying cars by now, so I don't believe any of that future bullshit. Okay. Now, one question that popped into my mind, which I'm sure you've gotten before. When does the time come that I'm assuming you don't have unlimited storage space, unlimited funds, all that good stuff. What brings about the rotation of stock, as we say in the retail trade?
Well, up until this past, was it March? I had never sold anything in 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And that was more of, I started doing some work with an auction house, VIP Fan Auctions, and because I was helping them out and doing stuff, I started thinking about, as I was organizing stuff during the pandemic, nothing else to do. So I started taking some of the things that I don't show, that doesn't get out, and just start putting it in the auction. And in fact, we just had the fall auction today. It ended there. So that's kind of, the bits and pieces that I have let go into VIP fan auctions.
Okay, now follow up to that question. You said about things that you don't show. Is when you have an item like that you just don't haul around with you, or it doesn't go in the real brick and mortar museum, is it because you don't feel like you have the right fan base? You haven't found the right fan base for an item, or is it something that just is so, well, that could be anybody's hat, that kind of thing? What do you think the reason is? What do you base it on?
Items that I've sold this past year have fallen into all those categories. For instance, I had some hats for Idris Elba from the Dark Tower, but I only needed one, but I had 3 or 4 of them, so I just took the other 3, put them into an auction.
Now, okay,
so
quick.
There's been a lot of that.
quick double follow up. What possessed you to get like 4 hats for the same guy from the same movie?
It came as a lot when I got it. It was all or nothing. So and I have a lot of that going on. It's an all or nothing. So I have a bunch of these pieces or something. So yeah, either it gets spread out amongst all the curators and the museums, so there's one in every spot. For example, Lovecraft Country, J. Anthony Cosart just donated his Emmy-nominated makeups to us, and there's 4 of the one piece. So this is actually an item that we'll have at Scarefest. So one is with Craig, one is with me, one is at the Bakery in Phoenix, one is at the museum in Vegas, so there is that spread out, but then there's also too many of something and I have to get rid of it. I'm gonna turn this around here. Do you see the green thing?
Yeah, I see it. I see 2 green things actually.
Okay, so that one. The one next to the red dress.
Okay.
So that's the green meanie from Scream Queens, the main killer. So I had multiples of that. Craig has one he had acquired off of me, and then I put the other one into the auction. So that's kind of where I made those decisions of what I'm getting rid of, was just kind of parsing away, like, I don't need 2 of these, that type of a thing. As far as some of the items that just didn't work, it was more of a, yeah, they didn't go over well, or nobody really cared at the shows. And some of it just never even got brought out, that, it was something that I thought was nifty at the time, or I just got rid of RoboCop's gun from the remake, 2015 remake, in the auction. It went out to a whole bunch of shows. I mean, it was an okay, but it wasn't fantastic. It was just time to move it on.
Gotcha. Okay, we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, everybody, we have our announcements. I hope the audio works, but if not, we have pictures. We'll be right back.
TellMeTarot.com. Rare tarot and oracle decks for the discerning enthusiast or collector. Our decks are not for everyone. If you are a rare deck collector, art collector, or simply fall in love with a deck, then we might be for you. Right now, get 10% off your first order just for subscribing to their newsletter. Shipping is just $5.99 in the United States. TellMeTarot.com.
Spirit Mechanics is here to help. Their background includes many different specialties across the metaphysical spectrum, including alchemy, shamanism, Celtic witchcraft, angelic magic, astral travel, and more.
With over 30 years combined experience in the group, you can be confident in their ability to help. If there is a question you have that you cannot answer, they will do their best to assist you.
Metaphysics can be intimidating, confusing, and unfortunately, abused. Spirit Mechanics takes pride in being selfless in the pursuit of helping others, being humble and honest with their clients about their questions, and lastly, maintaining a professional and personable atmosphere. They want you to feel as you are coming to a close friend, and they will do everything in their power to make you comfortable and safe.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Scarefest TV that is trying not to happen tonight. I'm your host, Wes Forsyth, and we're getting ready to do announcements. Now, I decided to lead off with our cancellations. Let me go ahead and pull up the statement from this first one, because it's sad. I really wanted to meet the guy, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, Lloyd Kaufman cannot be with us after all. This is the statement from Lloyd Kaufman. Unfortunately, due to recent back problems, Trauma Entertainment's Lloyd Kaufman regrettably will have to postpone his appearance at Scarefest until 2022. Mr. Kaufman has very much been looking forward to meeting the incredible trauma and horror film fans. Uncle Lloydie can't wait to see you all in Lexington next year. Yes, we've already booked him for 2022. So we apologize. But when someone brings you health problems, you can't really complain about it. Now, this one we definitely can't complain about because it's a matter of money and fame. Rob Mello cannot come to Scarefest because he's got a job. He has a paying job, as in like 6 figures. You know, he's going to be making the bucks. We tried to find out. I forget what show. He's apparently filming a series. I love the character. And they kept him on for some extra episodes, which we'll be filming our weekend. That's the kind of thing that happens all the time. But unfortunately, this year, it kind of hurts double because of this. Everybody's on pins and needles about it. But so far, everything's been with one, well, I guess 2 exceptions. But anyway, so these are normal cancellations. But yeah, Rob Mello can't be with us. He's supposed to do us a little TikTok video or something to apologize, but we didn't get it in time. But so he will be back. We're already planning on snagging him in the future. Okay, but the good news. Now we're going to talk about the good news. Okay, our first celebrity announcement coming to Scarefest 13 is Cassie De Paiva. I hope I'm saying her name right. It might be De Paiva. Cassie De Paiva. Evil Dead 2, and a whole bunch of soap operas. She's part of our Evil Dead crowd, but she's best known for doing soap operas, and so I'm not going to go through her IMDb. Working, you know, Days, One Life to Live, General Hospital, Days of Our Lives. But then again, we do have a very, very active MILF contingent in Lexington, Kentucky. Okay, Hannah Fierman, up and coming scream queen. Does she even do anything but horror movies? But Hannah Fierman, VHS is what she, oddly, she's most famous for VHS, but when I was going through her IMDb, she's got some pretty meaty roles in some pretty meaty movies. But anyway, she's in American Hell, Unwanted, Dead by Midnight. I couldn't even decide which ones to put on her banner. But VHS, we met her down to Tennessee. Sweet, sweet lady. Hannah Fierman is coming to the Scarefest. Alvin Alexis, we're adding a little bit more to Night of the Demons. Alvin Alexis is coming. Alvin is best known for Night of the Demons among horror fans, but he's got a few other. He was in the Brother from Outer Space. Where is my list here? Remember that one. Great. Crap, the internet's not going to show me. Okay, that's fine. But So we got Alvin Alexis coming and to add a little bit more meat to our Night of the Demons. And while we're working on Night of the Demons, let's go ahead and bring Hal Havens in. Hal Havens is coming, Night of the Demons, Witch Trap, Fear the Walking Dead. He played like a rancher on Fear the Walking Dead just recently. So we've got Hal Havens coming to, that's our 4 replacements for the 2 that we lost tonight. But just wanted to go ahead. We still have a list of celebrities that we're announcing whether or not anybody else cancels. And we're crossing our fingers that no one else cancels, but it is that year. While we're at it, let's talk about entertainers. Billy Crank. Now, Billy Crank, of course, cosplays Son of Ernst a lot. But, you know, he's kind of getting kind of a name in regional TV commercials. Done some award-winning commercials and stuff. Billy Crank, and of course you know him from Scarefest TV as a sit-in co-host every now and then. But Billy Crank, I wanted to give him a banner and announce him. And Calypso Clown, fan favorite at the Scarefest because he annoys everybody with that big-ass cannon of his. Calypso Clown is coming to the Scarefest. Now, Cheyenne Moonshadow and the Black Hill Stage Company, they wander the floor during the day, but then, of course, during the VIP party, you're going to find them over across the street at Lex Live. They're doing their famous horror drag show right across the street at Lex Live in the Big Theater. That'll be coming up Saturday night. VIP tickets will get you into that. Cheyenne Moonshadow and the Black Hill Stage Company. And then I want to go ahead and give a plug to Cosplay for a Cause. Cosplay for a Cause. I believe their charity is Children's Hospitals. But yeah, they're great. They do a lot of cosplay. And I know my internet just dropped because that time I got a warning on it. But it will be in the archive. Cosplay for a Cause are sending their usual contingent of people. Okay, and coming up Saturday night, October 23rd at 7 p.m., we have a special screening of 13 Sleighs Till Xmas. 13 Sleighs Till Christmas. That will be our feature film, one of our feature films of the evening. Now, with that, we're sneaking it in on VIP night. It'll be kind of a crossover thing. You don't have to have a VIP ticket to see it. You do have to have a Scarefest pass, or you have to buy a ticket. But 13 Sleighs for Christmas, I'll be showing a trailer of that, but we're bringing that in for your viewing enjoyment. Now, Casualty Friday. We're still working on this, and we had tickets up, but we got to fix something. But anyway, Casualty Fridays, at some point during the weekend, whether it's a timing issue or whatever, we are going to do a live version of Casualty Friday with Felissa Rose, Kane Hodder, and Tiffany Shepis. Don't forget to throw axes with killers. We've still got plenty of axe throwing tickets, and I'm kind of freaked out about it because they sold out. We've sold almost as many tickets giving you 6 months notice as we did last time giving you 30 days notice. Kind of pissing me off. We think they should be going more. We're getting ready to put the spectator tickets on sale, so you'll be able to watch it, but we haven't done that yet. But if you're coming, we're coming up on the deadline here, people. Scarefest is 4 weeks away. Throw axes with killers. We got Ari Mihailoff, Kane Hodder, Steve Nappy. Well, we lost Rob Mello, but Vernon Wells. I should write this stuff down. Robert Mukes. We've still got plenty of axe throwing celebrities for your pleasure. And of course, we're doing the Bowl-O-Rama thing. The Lex Live Bowl-O-Rama. Scream Queens in the Lex Live Bowl-O-Rama. Even though 2 of our ladies are not actually Scream Queens. They're from Josh Gates' Destination Truth. They're damn popular, damn pretty. And you can join a bowling team. Now on that, you get to actually pick the team that the lady that you get to bowl with. So we've sold out a couple of the teams. Still got tickets available for more teams. Plenty of spots left. So, and that one, there will not be any spectator really because you just can't fit that many people in the bowling alley. They might you can rent the lane next to them, I guess. But anyway, Scream Queens at the Bolorama. And Tessa Del Zoppo's gallery reading will be that weekend. We're working out the time on that. We had changed it. It was going to be on Saturday. We had moved it, and we're not sure. She's not sure she wants it moved. So we're working with her to get the best time, best slot for you. But the tickets are going to cost the same no matter what. So if you're coming for the weekend, Tessa Del Zoppo's gallery reading, The Psychic Girlfriend of Nick Groff. And, of course, if you haven't already bought your tickets, and tickets are selling. Now, that's the thing. Axe throwing should have be a lot closer to being sold out. Tickets are selling like hotcakes. We're doing really good on ticket sales, but so if you want to get it and not have to stand in the small change line, as I like to say, tickets are on sale. Get that. Get your QR code. You walk up, you get in the building a whole lot faster that way. And the VIPs get in an hour early. So, film festival entries are still open, but we're coming up on the deadline on that. You got like another week and a half, whatever it is. So if you're a film producer and you've been wanting to enter, you better do it. And because we're getting ready to finalize the judging on these things, and first week of October we expect to have all of our nominees out there for you. And finally, the last thing I'm going to talk about is the Central Kentucky Mystical Market. There is no Central Kentucky Mystical Market in October because Scarefest, and we don't have time to do both. So there. Okay, back to my guest, James Azrael and Craig Champion of Horror and Sci-Fi Prop Preservation Association, the HSPPA. Check out their website, everybody, hsppa.com. Now, I did want to ask, because this has actually come up in our photo ops. Somebody will have a really realistic prop or something, and one of our stars will say, hey, can I borrow that for my photo op? Does that ever happen to you, or where the celebrities you happen to hit at the same convention and they walk up and go, oh, wow, can I put that jacket back on? Can I wear that one of those 4 hats? You know, whatever.
Yes. Time live the shows have pre Gremlins and Gizmo and stuff for Zach. I can't think of his name now. For his.
Okay, now we're even chopping up on my end.
Doing a show up in New Jersey, and I was approached by a gentleman in a hat, and just briefly, we're trying to set up and everything, and he sees I have Ben Hanscom's screen-used bike from It, Chapter 1. And it's an old Pacer Deluxe, and he walks up and he says, hey, I used to have a bike like that. And I said, oh, okay, great. And I wasn't really looking at him, you know, I was just more listening to him because we were still setting up. And he says, I'm gonna come back and ride that. And I was like, okay, man, you know, cool. And so he walked off. I didn't really know who it was. And later on, these 3 large men came to me and said, hi, Michael Rooker would like to ride that bike up onto the stage to do his panel on. And I said, oh, okay, sure, no problem. Now, I've never been on the bike. Like, I'd never ridden it. I didn't know if it was safe to ride. The tires were completely flat. So we actually had to go to Target that night, get an air pump up the tires. I actually rode it around the convention just to make sure that he wasn't going to kill himself on it. And the next day, sure enough, he came over and he rode the bike from the booth all the way to the stage, sat on it the whole time, even tried to ride doubles with Ming from Comic Book Men. It was very, very comical, and it was great. And he rode it back to the booth from the stage, and it's now kind of just become a staple because we saw him in Atlanta later on that year, and he rode he's like, I got to ride my bike, you know, and so we let him ride the bike again just around the convention. And oddly enough, I was at another convention just as a guest, not actually displaying, but as a guest, walking by. He happened to be at that show, and he saw me, and he yelled across the people that was in front of him. He said, uh-oh, did I lose everybody?
No, you're there.
Okay.
I got you.
He actually said, my screen went black, so he actually said, he's like, hey, where's my bike? So it was great. It was great.
Now, of course, now everybody, now the way they fund this is, do you have a set price you charge photos with the items, or do you just ask for donations? How does that work?
We just ask for donations from whatever people are willing to do. We try not to, because in the end, I mean, we're not going to turn away a kid that just wants to see it, and because that's what we're there for. We're there for them to enjoy it, to see it, to experience it, et cetera, et cetera. I myself, half the time, don't even ask. Like I see somebody just so enthralled with what's there, and I'll just pull it out. That came out wrong.
Yeah, especially right after you finish about the little children and everything. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's what we're there for, is the experience, because we're just passionate about that. The fundraising has always been secondary or thirdary to me. It's important because we use that money to try to preserve and fix the props, as well as the cases, the displays, things. Our last show, one of the covers of the case split right across the top as we started the show, and we had nothing to put there, so Craig had to run off and buy a new piece of plexi and put it up. I'm the one that broke it though, so but we have those expenses and everything that need to be taken care of, so that's what the money is for and why we need it. But our first desire is to make people smile and walk away with a once in a lifetime experience.
The now on you kind of triggered another one of the way my mind works. Do most of the items come to you in reasonably pristine condition, where like all you gotta do is like take a bleach rag to the human centipede clothing, or do you get some stuff that's kind of roach that you really have to work on?
But the fun of the human centipede is not knowing what happened. Not knowing what those stains are. It's all different aspects. For the fundraising, the main item that we use to demonstrate is Barf from Spaceballs, and his ears in particular, which is a box of hair and rotted latex that needs to be repaired. So that came like that, but the outfit is fine. Wardrobes very often come out nicely, but and I know you can't see this on where's my machete? It's a good, here, samurai sword is a pointer. You can't see it on Zoom, but right here on his arm there's some dry rot forming on the latex. That all needs to be addressed. But it came that way. It's displayable, but it needs to be fixed. It needs to be preserved.
Although I'm trying to picture if anything could be worse than a box of hair and latex for that headpiece. Are there any others that you really had to put your heart and soul and unfortunately money into to get displayable?
my table. These are Batman's pants. Michael Keaton. This is one that we just had done, and it was just the pants, so they had to be mounted onto a body form, and then painted over and fixed up, which wasn't easy to do. Craig, what is your issue? Do we just completely?
Different movie that made me think. I'm not wearing hockey pants. Yeah. Now the other question I had before I let y'all go is, do you let people get hands-on with this stuff a little bit, as much as you can, or are some items you just consider too valuable, look but don't touch? Let's give the people that walk into your booth kind of a preview of what they can expect.
It's all of the above on that one. You know, if it can be handled, we try to. With the pandemic, there's a lot less that we can do, just on the basis that you cannot sanitize stuff. You know, your Cloroxes and your bleaches and your hand sanitizer and things can destroy the item. So we've just had to pull back on allowing certain things to be handled. But yeah, I mean, the latex is things like that. If they're brittle, if they're looking worn, they're not going to be allowed to touch. You know, if we have like Alice's Hydra shotgun, we could allow you to take a photo with that, you know.
Okay.
We as much as we can, we want you to experience, basically what it comes down
to.
Well,
that's great. You're much more trusting of souls than I am. Let's go ahead. We're going to do our final commercial segment. Is not really a commercial segment. Go ahead and pull that up. It is, but it's some people that's helping us a whole lot this year get through the swim uphill. Swim uphill. Anyway, the point is, they're sponsors of the Scarefest. The official mover of the Scarefest, Wildcat Moving, which incidentally had to move that big ass set piece from Comic-Con that we took. And they were smiling and happy and showed up on time, all that good stuff. Residential and commercial moving, Wildcat Moving, the official mover of the Scarefest, and trust me, they are a lifesaver for us. Okay, now this is a featured vendor, Blythe Paranormal Productions. Exploring the paranormal with his wife, Shane Blythe is creating shows for teams. So if you have a paranormal team and you want to do a documentary or a sizzle reel, whatever, he's the man to call. Facebook.com, Blythe Vids. But let's look up Shane Blythe. Junior High Horrors. It's a comic book. I don't know much about it, but we're going to find out when they put a copy in every swag bag. That's the plan. Another featured vendor from the Scarefest. And if I was a tattoo guy, I would check out SacredMountainTattoo.com. If you're in the Pikeville area, of course, you probably already know who they are, but SacredMountainTattoo.com. When you come to the Scarefest, they will be set up as a featured vendor. It's almost as soon as you walk in the door. So, and then finally, I want to give a shout out to featured vendor Zombie Cow. When they first came on Scarefest, signed up as a vendor, I don't think they even had a Facebook page yet. I had no idea what they did, but they do custom art, stainless steel tumblers, FX makeup silicone, FX prosthetics, mask, and so much more. Look them up on Facebook, The Zombie Cow. And so we're going to say goodnight to our guests. We're going to close out this show with Bonehead Weekly doing the review of them. Craig, James, thank you so much for coming on and putting up with our technical difficulties tonight. I'll try to get a clean episode that you can share, post on Facebook just as soon as I can. So looking forward to seeing what you bring to Scarefest. And anything you want to close the show out with.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what you bring, everybody. HSPPA.com. Go ahead and take a little preview. Go to their website, take a little preview. Look at some of the stuff they're restoring right now. Everybody, this has been Scarefest TV. Here's your movie review.
Hey, Scarefist, this is Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. This review is going to be a little serious, and the reason being is because it's the show Them from Amazon. It's heavy, man. It's really heavy. It took me almost a month, if not more, to get through it, because at times it just gets so heavy. And the issue about reviewing it is that there's so many layers to it. There's so many layers to it that it's hard to dissect it all in 4 minutes. You know, the Emery family is an African-American family that live in North Carolina. And this is Jim Crow. This is the 50s, and it's bad. And some tragedy befalls them, which you find out all the details. And by the 4th or 5th episode, and if you're a parent, it's really hard to watch. And they moved to California. The husband, wife, and 2 girls. He's an engineer, and he gets this great job, and they moved to Compton. Well, Compton at this time is all white, and there were actual laws because there were so many African Americans fleeing the South in Jim Crow. This part of the show is true. It's based, I mean, it's a supernatural show, but this part's true. They would flee to go out west to California, and the thing is not a lot of people, a lot of white folks were understanding and accepting there either. So there would actually be laws where different areas would not accept someone who was African-American to actually buy into the place. They would get rid of some of these laws, and you find out, and this part is true, banks would take advantage of African-Americans, basically using to charge outrageous interest rates on these 30-year mortgages that they could never, ever pay off. So that's just one layer. The other layer is everyone in the neighborhood hates them because they're black, and there's a bunch of white bastards and racist ones, most of them. And that's another layer. Another layer to the show is the supernatural layer, that there's something going on, that there's been something going on in several of these houses. And how far does this go back? And you do find out later in some episodes a little bit of the history. So that's a quick overview of them. It's on Amazon Prime. A lot of the history is fascinating. The issues I have with the show, other than it's a lot to take, even if you take the racial part out of it. There's, they had a son. The son obviously isn't with them, and then you start to find out some of the stuff. So as a parent, that's also hard to watch. The absolute cruelty is a little hard to watch. And not everything makes really good sense, and not everything connects. And then some storylines, like there's Allison Pill, who's this sweet little actress and so many other things, plays this lady named Betty, who's this just white monster who wants these folks out of their neighborhood and will do anything to do it. And tragedy happens to her, and you find out a little bit, but a lot of these plot points aren't really resolved, or they just kind of end. And the show for this season, it's going to be an anthology. Like this season, for example, like American Horror Story, this season deals with this family, and another season's going to deal with maybe another family, always based on issues with African Americans. I know there's a lot of hate in this world, but there's just a lot of hate in this show. So when I tell you that, is it a horror show? Yes. Is it a comment on society? Yes. Is it about an awful time in history? Yes. And it's a lot to take. So go in knowing that it's tough. I don't know I can recommend it as far as, oh my God, this is entertaining, like Deep Rising with Treat Williams. That's an entertaining picture. It's one of my guilty pleasures. Them's not that. It's funny. So can I recommend them? If you're willing to do the 10 episodes, you want to get a little bit of actual history mixed in with some storytelling that's not overly fantastic, but also it's really well acted. It's just tough. It's a tough show. I do recommend it if you can get through all that. This has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly.